Alrighty, and we're live. Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Welcome back to another guest choice review. And today, this morning, with me, I have Riot Kitty. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good today.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Silence YouTube channel. Sorry about that, Riot. Go ahead and say hello again.
Hello. I'm Riot Kitty. I'm ready for movie discussion.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes, with every guest choice review, I allow the guest to come on. They can choose the movie, the date, and the time that they come on, so it's perfectly to their convenience. The only thing is they come onto my channel instead of theirs.
Yo.
So yeah, it's a good 1v1 thing that I'm getting started. I got Mara Jade coming on tonight, and a person who's called CG Snowballer on Twitter, but her channel's called Lola Meets on YouTube. So I got her coming in Friday night. So yeah, so tonight, or today rather, with Riot, she wanted to discuss the movie Logan.
It actually took me 2 days to pick a movie because you have a lot of good choices on here.
Oh yeah. I had her choose from my digital libraries because I was sending out screen passes and whatnot, and figured use up a screen pass, let somebody choose from the library, you know. And she chose Logan, and it's actually a very interesting choice, also because I have Wolverine claws. So yeah, and these will actually come in handy for later in the discussion. So, what made you choose Logan, Riot?
Well, it was kind of between two choices. Batman Under the Red Hood and Logan. But in the end, I'm like, you know what? I already saw a Batman discussion with you. I believe you discussed like Mask of the Phantasm with Lethal, that kind of a thing.
Return of the Joker with Lethal.
Oh, Return of the Joker. Oh, gosh. Dang it.
Although we did mention Under the Red Hood. We did mention Under the Red Hood.
Yeah. And then you mentioned like Mask of the Phantasm. I mean, I thought
that as well.
And my brain processed it. It's like, you were talking about that movie. I know you weren't. Okay, whatever. Okay, so, but in the end, I decided to choose Logan because Wolverine is my favorite superhero.
Good choice.
Of all time. So it's like, I'm like, you know what? I'll pick something from my favorite superhero.
Yeah. And that's actually a good choice because one of the interesting things about this movie is when they announced that they were going to do like an Old Man Logan type film, Hugh Jackman said, if this is going to be the last Wolverine film, I want it to be rated R because that's who Wolverine is.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely put that to good use. His head chopped off, split down the middle, that kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, he was doing some pretty creative kills in this movie.
I even told my mom, you probably would not get through this movie. She's not a gigantic fan of like
graphic violence,
especially concerning children. So it's like, yeah, you probably wouldn't want to watch this movie. So I just watched it.
Hello, Captain Trek. Good to see you. How you doing?
Love you, Mom. I do.
So yes, with oh crap, I actually forgot to bring up the talking points. I'm slipping today, folks.
Oh yeah, you did mention you had talking points. So.
Yes, I did. I always when I do a movie discussion, I always bring up talking points to keep the stream on track. So, yep, open up Google Docs. Google is only good for as much as I want it to be good for, and that's about it. When I do searches online, I use Bing, but Google has Google Docs, and that works.
Ask, can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly? Like, am I coming off as like too quiet or?
No, you're good. Your sound is good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And we are doing well. Captain Trek. Thank you for
Yeah,
asking.
thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
So, yes, and here we are. Okay, so Logan was directed by James Marigold, 2017 release. It concluded the original Fox family of X-Men with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. This movie also stars Richard E. Grant, Boyd Holbrook from The Predator, that god-awful version of 2018. No offense, Boyd, you actually did some good acting in that movie, but the movie itself just was so bad. Stephen Merchant as Caliban, and introducing, this is meaning her first movie, Daphne Keane, who played Laura, aka X-23, or they
I looked her up just because I was curious. She is actually a British Spanish actor, so she didn't need to learn Spanish for this movie. So
that was actually an interesting take that I feel that Marvel did, was they made Laura to be Hispanic in a sense, and I'm like,
no,
is
at
she
least the
Hispanic
Spanish
in the comics?
Well, at least like a Spanish speaker. I'm pretty sure like the lady who rescued her was Hispanic herself. So basically she taught them to speak Spanish basically. So.
Oh, she was fluent.
Yeah.
So well, they also were conducting it all in those experiments in Mexico.
Yeah, now, so that's basically the language they naturally learned, basically. So.
Now, while I actually love this movie, there is a couple of things that I do have issues with. One of them actually being how they depersonalized X-23, the title or the name of the character. X-23 in the comics is Laura. She is X-23, where in the movie they call all of the mutant children the X-23s. So, yeah. That was one of
she's basically X-2323, basically.
Yeah, she is the 23rd clone, or she is the 23rd mutant project of Alkali Lake's subsidiary Transigen in the movie. But in the comics, she is the 23rd variant of Logan, or of a clone of Wolverine. Where, because his DNA was too damaged, they had to switch it over to an X chromosome clone. For all intents and purposes, she is genetically identical to Wolverine. But the only difference is one chromosome. So, yeah. And Metalong, good to see you. How you doing? Now, this is essentially a mixture of X-23 Origins and Old Man Logan, as I stated earlier.
Yep.
It starts with Logan being carjacked, of all things. He's a limo driver, and I love how he's completely just passed out drunk and gets out. He's like, guys, those lug nuts, chrome plated, not real chrome. You're going to flake off, and they end up just shooting him. It's like, we don't want to listen to you. Shut the fuck up and let us steal your car.
Yeah.
And it ends up with him going into a rage. He's also protecting his car. He's like, not the car. And he jumps in front of the guy that's shooting at the car. And it's like, oh my God. And so you still get to see him go through his rage and end up just slaughtering people, or slaughtering these carjackers and whatnot. But you're noticing that it's slightly different than the normal rages that we see him in previous movies, where he just goes all out ballistic, doesn't care if he's hurt or not. In this, you see that he's slower. You see that while he could still pull out the claws, one claw is coming out not all the way. It's like, okay, didn't want to do this. And he just slides out the claws, and one of them is just like, well, I can actually show you with my trusty claw here, where this claw, the top one on his right hand, only comes out about this far compared to the rest of the claws. And it's like, that's not right.
Nope.
So then he goes into into a bathroom off or from a gas station or something, tosses the old clothes, and he pulls out a brand spanking new dress shirt and stuff. It's like, okay, so this has happened often. So,
Yep.
yikes. What did you think of that whole scene where he's getting carjacked and then just ends up unleashing?
Well, it definitely conveyed like the old man Logan type thing. It's definitely different than Wolverine previously, even in the Fox movies. So
Yeah.
it was actually unintentionally a little bit funny because it's not gonna come off it.
Yeah. And then you see that he's burping his bullets or pushing out the bullets so he can heal a little bit. But you also see that he is riddled with scar tissue, which usually
Yep.
when he heals, he doesn't have scars. Now his body is just littered with scars. So that also covers the old man Logan where he's not healing as good. And it's later explained the reason why he's not healing is because of the adamantium in his body. It's poisoning his body.
Yeah, and it's not like you could remove it, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's all throughout his skeleton. So we then get to or him driving after he heals up and gets out of the bathroom, and they realize it's 2029. They explain that the year is 2029. Why are we still talking about mutants? And it's like, okay, so that's a good way of setting up that mutants are a dying breed or a dead breed for the most part.
Yep.
And he crosses into Mexico. He has a few, or he's a limo driver. He rents his limo out and whatnot. And this movie, like he said, he wanted it rated R, and they exploited it to the fullest for the most part. I mean, you have freaking prom girls flashing people and whatnot.
You got like, drunk prom girls flashing their boobies.
Yep. You got some guy talking about how he's in the car now. You basically feel like this dude just whacked somebody and he just rented a limo service so he's not conspicuous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, what the did this guy kill somebody or something?
Maybe.
Why is he talking about how he's in a car right now and he'll be there soon and whatnot? I'm like, what? It just makes you wonder.
Or he's going to kill somebody.
Yeah, or he's going to do that, yeah. And then it shows that he lives just south of the border, and then he's doing a funeral run for somebody. And he's drinking off at the side, just loading up on alcohol, and then he hears Logan Wolverine, and then it's like, oh fuck. It's this Hispanic lady trying to get his attention. He's like, get the fuck away from me. And I'm like, whoa, dude, what's going on? But it's because he heard the name Wolverine. Somebody knows who he is, that it tells you that he's kind of been living off.
On the down low.
Yeah, on the low. So it's like, yikes. And so she drives off, and you get your first look at Laura in the back end. And so it's like, okay, there's probably a reason between this girl and this woman. So and the woman's like, who was that? The one that he's chauffeuring. It's like, just some crazy lady. It's all right. And so then he goes to the hospital and he grabs some meds, and you see that there's this guy watching him. Boyd Holbrook's character, Pierce, or Donald Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love how he just goes right in. He's like, you got buckshot in your car door, by the way.
Yeah, he just casually gets in the back seat.
Yeah, he's like, who the fuck are you? Oh, my name's Pierce, and I'm looking for somebody who and whatnot. But I also heard that the Wolverine was in town. Big fan of yours, Wolvie. And he talks about how there was carjacking out on 58, and how the carjackers were all found dead, probably by an ant or saber-tooth tiger or something like that, or Freddy Krueger. Couldn't have been either of them because on the count of one being extinct and one being fictional. The way that Boyd Holbrook acts in this scene where he is, or his character, it's truly enjoyable to watch because he's just a nonchalant, non-caring person in this scene.
Yep.
And he's asking, have you seen a woman? Has she contacted you yet? And whatnot. And he's like, look, I don't know any Gabriella. So get the fuck out of my car. And he hands him a card that says Transigen or from the Alkali. And he starts freaking the frick out. He's like, fuck. And then he gets home after he crosses the border and whatnot. You see Caliban from X-Men Apocalypse, because the character of Caliban was in X-Men Apocalypse as a mutant tracker, also a mutant trafficker, because he's trafficking, or in that movie he was trafficking mutants as well as tracking mutants. But in this one, he's just helping Logan out. And he's an albino, so he can't do well in sunlight. And we also hear Professor X, or Charles Xavier, spouting all sorts of conversations with somebody or something. And they're saying, and you hear Caliban say he's not having a good day. And Logan tells him it's all bad days. Logan is basically a person who just doesn't give a shit anymore. And that is one of the things I actually liked about this movie. And so he goes to visit Xavier, and Xavier's inside of a water tower that's been tipped over. That's supposed to help shield other people from his psychic fits that he has in this movie. So what did you think of Xavier having Alzheimer's and having these psychic fits?
Well, that's really sad. I don't know. You can't control that stuff, even in real life, like without psychic powers and stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's obviously trying to remember things and like why he's here. And he's also getting angry that, Logan or Caliban won't tell him anything. And it's just like, I can't, and it's kind of like, from the audience's perspective, it's kind of like helplessness because you don't know what's going on either. It's just like, and he's basically just slowly losing his mind almost. So,
and for somebody whose mind is extremely powerful, like Charles Xavier's is, and which they actually do discuss it in this film, to jump a little bit out of order, they classify his brain as a weapon of mass destruction.
Yep, definitely. Like it's same thing with this kid in the Madhouse anime. So,
yeah,
like it's just like it's like you don't want to like screw, like if a brain of Fat Megatune is screwed with, something bad's gonna happen. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Apocalypse actually used him to launch every freaking nuke in the Apocalypse movie. He just launched all the nukes straight up. They weren't targeted to anything. And it's like, okay, welcome to a nuke-free world. Why couldn't somebody do this or to begin with,
I guess, yeah. But
I mean, activists all over the world is like, okay, now what are we going to complain about? But yeah, so he has that fit, and he has to get or Logan shoots him up, and he's asking, why am I here?
Lucky he didn't, like, he was chopping like some food or something. Like he was lucky that he wasn't like
cut off his hands.
The knife was just like enough above his hands where he wouldn't do that, because otherwise he'd chop his fingers or his hand off with the butcher knife.
Oh yeah. And Caliban's like, that didn't feel like more than a minute. That hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like ages probably, even though it kind of was like in movie time. It was like 1 minute and 30 seconds or something. Right?
Yeah. Well, in the movie, it's kind of like a minute or two. where the timer only puts it like a minute or about a minute.
Yep.
But in movie world, it's probably a little bit longer and whatnot. So yeah, you know that this is something that he has had to deal with before because they have countermeasures for it. The syringe to kind of knock him out a little bit.
Yeah, and then the seizure medication, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and Caliban ends up talking to him afterward, but there's also that scene where, and I'm actually going to use this to explain, he actually had or was checking his claws because one of them didn't come out all the way. So you actually see him
cleaning
pull the claw
and pulling it
out. And you also see the blood because on both sides of these claws, folks, they're sharp, or they were sharpened down. So that if he ever swings like this, he's slicing somebody, or he can swing like this and slice somebody. Now, it was the other Wolverine movie, Unleashed, where I realized the tools that they use to make it look like he has the claws coming out of his fingers. They make claws that he can actually hold onto a handle here, and they just come up through instead of doing a glove or anything like that. And I thought that was an interesting thing too, but you also got to keep your hands closed in order for the claws to look like they are genuinely out.
Mm-hmm.
But also going back to this, I do like how they are showing that this is an aged Logan. There's something wrong with him. But also the albino says, or Caliban is saying he says he's talking with somebody, and he's like, I know a goddamn speciation when I see one. Speciation, another mutant. And he's like, or somebody's after her. And Logan doesn't want to hear it. He thinks that Charles has lost it. He doesn't believe that Charles is coherent anymore. But you can also tell that in the certain ways that Patrick Stewart's character, he plays it very well. You can tell when he's not coherent, and you can tell when he is coherent.
Certainly.
And it's where he's doing all of the scenes in that part where he's talking about Taco Bell, where there's cheese baked into the
like he's listening to like the TV, I think, or something, a TV nearby or something.
Yeah, he's psychically listening to other people, and it's like, and I'm like, well, he has lost it. And then he's like, step aside, sir. And then he realizes that he's about to give him a shot, and he's like, no, he freaks out. That's part of Alzheimer's, folks. I've actually been around people who have had Alzheimer's. They will get violent. They will fight back if they feel that they are in danger. Jack of all casuals, good to see you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know anyone with Alzheimer's, but I have known someone with dementia, and that similar kind of thing. They will get violent if they don't know you, like if they just have a lapse and they don't know you or know what's going on also.
Metalong, of course, recently Patrick Stewart isn't too far off. Jack of Casuals, good to see you.
Captain
funny he should actually say that. When did Captain Picard join the X-Men universe? It is so funny you say that. There is a book out there where Star Trek Next Generation actually is with or crosses over with the X-Men.
Yeah, I remember that one. Like just because like I think it was like it was like a Watch Mojo video or something, and it's like I think like Wolverine gets his butt kicked by Spock or something.
There was that one, or there's that generation. Of course, yeah, there was that generation as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
But they also did go with the Jean-Luc Picard generation as well.
No. Wow.
And because
Weird
according to X-Men lore and Star Trek lore, Beast, Henry McCoy, or Doc McCoy who's Beast, is actually related to Hank McCoy from Star Trek.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
And I read the novel where they were talking about mutants or some kind of mutates in the Star Trek Next Generation novel. And Picard actually had to go or talk with Professor X, but he didn't cross over time with them. So they created a hologram or a holodeck where he could go and talk to Professor X, and he's like, oh my God, it's like looking in a mirror. And I just love that. But getting back to the movie.
Yeah, it's not a Star Trek discussion, but
yeah. I like how the next scene, he's like, or the next day after he's not sleeping, he's like, or Caliban just goes off on him. He's like, I don't want to fight, but I think we should discuss what happened yesterday. He's like, you think I'm not noticing things? How about the fact that I'm having to freaking iron out or wash blood out of your shirts? How you're not healing? How there's pus around your knuckles? And I found this in your pocket. It's a bullet. And he's like, adamantium. And Wolverine pulls the bullet out of his hand. It's like, where'd he get that? But then if you remember, unfortunately, that god-awful X-Men Origins movie, Stryker had adamantium bullets. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
everything is connected, even if everything isn't so good.
Exactly. And you also see that because of this bullet, you know that Wolverine is probably gonna end himself. Keely Chow, good to see you. How you doing?
Hello, Keely. Good morning.
Keely Chow is one of the greatest supporters of the community, folks. Honestly,
yeah, I see her everywhere.
Him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a he.
All right. Well, yeah, I see him everywhere, basically.
But yeah. I'm friends with him on Facebook. But Stryker had a pointed tip, and I think Logan's is a hollow point taken there as well. And we're all doing well, Keely. God, that's Origin starting universe sucked balls. Exactly, it really did. I mean, making Deadpool a freaking multi-powered mutant without a mouth. That was an insult. So getting back, he's dropping off another couple of women who are going to some party, and then he gets a sign that he has 2 more passengers. And it's the same lady, because he sees the little girl tossing a ball and whatnot, and she comes out trying to plead for him to help her. Then you see that the little girl has accidentally broken a window, and you see this heavy-set woman come out. And like I said, folks, they really went there with all of the stuff that they did. Because he tells this lady when the Hispanic lady, Gabriella, collapses because she's bleeding down her arm from an injury. And he's like, just get your fat ass back in the car or back in your house. You'll get your money. It's like, oh my God, he actually went there. So she offers him the $20,000 to get them there, or to get her to South Dakota with the girl.
I think it was North Dakota.
Yes, North Dakota. Sorry. A wild Karen appears. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, I need some time to think about it. So he goes to talk to Charles about how they might be able to get their boat after he does this ride for them. He'll have enough money to get the boat, because they're planning on going out or living out the rest of their days on a boat, a Sunseeker. And not that Caliban would be able to do that, because on account of him being an albino and all, but he also called Logan out on that. He's like, what about me, man? I don't do well on boats out in the sun. I mean, what? You're going to expect me to stay below deck making spotted dick for Charles all the time? Not that I know what spotted dick is, but I believe it is some sort of meal in Britain. But yeah.
I thought it just meant like he was going to changes diapers or something.
You're about as ignorant to it as I am. So, yeah. So the next day he goes there. She's dead. She's sitting there with a bullet in her head.
Dead.
Yeah. And he's like, shit. So unbeknownst to him, he had a stowaway in his car. And
everyone just casually getting into his car.
Yeah. And Caliban catches it. He sniffs the ball and he's like, Logan, who does this belong to? And then you see the girl, and then you see Professor X or Charles coming out. He's
spotted like, dick is a cake.
Oh, interesting.
Well, that would be like one of my last guesses. But okay.
That answers that.
Yep. Thank you.
But yeah. Okay. So yeah. Metalong, gotta go. Sorry, but I also wanted to say there's another reason why Logan's healing factor isn't working well and prompting the adamantium to killing slowly. Oh. What is the other reason? Because we already said that. I saw it on a YouTube video a while back. Interesting. But yeah, him getting older, and it is the adamantium that's killing him. Otherwise, he would have lived. Because in this movie, it's 2029. James Howlett was born in like 1843, I believe.
Yeah, 1840s. At least.
Yeah, because actually, I'm going to actually look that up. So, yeah. What year was Wolverine born? Well, already. 1832.
Oh, okay. Well,
so yeah, he was born in 1832. So
you're both a decade off, but yeah.
Shit, he's almost 200. He's almost 200 fucking years old. He's 197 years old.
Yep. It's
like,
old dude.
Damn, dude. He's all. And they mentioned, or you see Boyd Holbrook's character come back following him. He's like, yeah, Gabrielle's dead and girl's missing. I just want the girl, man. He's like, there's no girl here, dude. Well, okay, whose ball are you holding? And then he's like, just get the fuck out of here, dude. And he's or he already packed up Charles when Pierce shows up, and he's like, you got the octogenarian. He's like, actually, I'm a nonagenarian, meaning he's in his 90s. And it's like, oh my God, who cares anymore? But the fact that Charles is a nonagenarian and Logan's almost a bicentennial.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. It's like, God damn, dude, 3 years short of 200. Just makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yep.
And he also got the adamantium feed in the 80s. So that means 40 years of adamantium on your metal or on your skeleton will end up poisoning you real bad. Yikes. It takes its toll after about 40 years. So, while Pierce is talking, you hear somebody yell out and a freaking pipe hit the dude in the head, knocking him out. I'm like, oh God, that was hilarious. That was freaking hilarious right there. And when I gave you the screen pass, did they or was any of the special features, if you scroll down, were any of them accessible? Or did you check?
I didn't check.
I can send you another one sometime for another movie. But yeah, that would be interesting to know if the special features are accessible with screen passes. Because while I like movies anywhere as a digital library, I prefer Vudu, but Movies Anywhere allows the screen passes. So if anybody wants to or has a Movies Anywhere account, which is absolutely free, The only thing you're doing is buying movies to put on the library. You can get them from Vudu, Amazon, YouTube, and other stuff. I'm not doing this to announce for Movies Anywhere, only that I'm just saying that I use it. They do screen passes, so yeah, this is just an impromptu promotion for Movies Anywhere, which I found out recently Disney owns. So that sucks. But yes, I will still use it. It's a necessary evil, so to speak. But back to the.
I mean, you get access to a lot of stuff. So
yes, they give you the special features to a movie, where usually you got to get the DVD to do that. And while I have over 1,000 movies on DVD and Blu-ray and such. So, I mean, got this sucker from Odin, the complete animated series to Batman.
Wow. That's cool.
But I also have that on my Vudu library because while Movies Anywhere is good, they don't allow TV shows. So it's like,
yeah, it's just
sucks.
movies. So.
Yeah, it's just movies. So yeah, on my Vudu, I have The Mentalist. I have the Batman animated series. I got Highlander the series.
I've got HBO Max, so I can I'm
HBO.
like on season 2 of Superman, the animated series. So.
Oh, cool! I'm actually gonna have to start watching that stuff. All right, I know that HBO. I also have HBO Max for other reasons. I'm actually going to be doing a. Hey, Jacob Ironside, good to see you. I'm actually going to be doing a review for Antlers because thanks to HBO Max. Good to see you. Yeah, it's based on the Wendigo and
Satanic Deer movie. Yeah.
It's based on the Wendigo, actually, which is a crypto beast in Native American cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely checking that out, and I'm gonna blame my brother or one of my brothers for that because he got me into looking up on crypto beasts again because I used to be largely into it before I got into YouTube. And then I got out of it. So, yeah, back to that. He has Caliban, an albino. Doesn't do well in sunlight. He's like, dump the body and whatnot. And if he moves, just put 2 bullets or put a bullet in his head. Or he's like, what if he wakes up? So freaking Logan just kicks him in the head.
Kill.
And he's like, there, he won't wake up. Well, unfortunately, he does wake up. And he's like, you're fucked now, mutie.
Yeah, this was kind of like a rush job.
Yeah, it was not well thought out, but they were trying to get out. And so he arrives there with a whole team of mercs and whatnot, and they go in to go after the girl. You hear some shots and some screaming, and this big old muscle dude with a mohawk goes in, and then Lauren walks out. This is one of the best reveals ever in any of the X-Men movies, where she's walking out and she just rolls the dude's head. And I'm like, yep. Yep. Holy crap, that's awesome.
Certainly.
And then Pierce is like, no. And you see her claws just come right out, and it's like, there you go. Now it's clear as day that this is in fact X-23. If anybody didn't know who X-23 was. Me, I am more like the adult version from the comics because she is, or they also have a thing in the comics that sets her off, or it's berserk scent or something like that. Trigger scent, where if she smells a certain scent, she goes into a berserk rage that she can't control. And if she goes into this rage, if she is around anybody, that person is dead. She has killed, in the comics, folks, there have been parts because they laced the area with trigger scent. She has killed families, babies, innocent people. That's the kind of berserk rage she'll go into. She can't control what she does under a trigger sense. Now, they didn't have that in this. They just had her as a really angsty young girl with Wolverine's anger issues. But Daphne Keane actually did very good the way that she's whipping around. She's very athletic in the scene. And she even uses her toe claws to great effect in it, because she has toe claws where Wolverine has 3 claws up. She has 2 claws up with the toe claw down.
Yep.
And that's very interesting, which we then learned from Charles is because of her gender. Now, if this had any woke ideology, it's like, what would a non-binary have? Sorry, I had to get.
I do like the fight scene thing. It's like kind of like where she's basically moving around like a tiny badger or something. So.
Oh yeah, she's extremely agile. She's just rolling around, slicing people's necks and slicing people in the back and whatnot. When you see this girl cutting loose, she is doing it. Like, it's like, holy crap, man. Thank God for digital effects that can show the claws and whatnot, because if she would have hit one of these guys, I'm pretty sure she would have freaking leveled them. Daphne Keane really did a great job acting in this movie.
Certainly.
And it's like, I wouldn't want to mess with her. I mean, she just freaking leveled or she freaking just rolls around a person and just rolls them down, kind of like not unsimilar to Black Widow's style of fighting in the Avengers, where she uses her own weight to toss people around and uses their own weight to toss them around. So yeah, I thought that was one of the better scenes. And then they have to escape from the area, and she does what Wolverine would do. Now, something that a lot of people should know is that X-23 or Laura, it's only her claws that are metal. The rest of her body is not metal. She doesn't have, or she only received the feed on the claws, not the rest of her skeleton. So
I think that was shown in the video that that's the Gabriella.
Yeah, they
on her phone. So
yeah, because they're checking out that after they have escaped and they had to charge. And I love they're figuring out that Transigen's been working south of the border with illegal human experimentation. And just before the video goes out, you see them prepping her claws and whatnot. And Logan's like, oh my God. And he has to go out and get something. And he's like, or Charles is like, Logan, just stop. I gotta pee. And you also see Laura freaking out because she was riding on the little quarter horse. And the thing is stopped. Yeah, she's she's about to use her claws. And
it's like, no. Yeah, and then she even almost skewers a guy because, like, he's like, "Hey, you gotta pay for that."
Yeah, the trailer moment where she just starts ripping into some Pringles, and then she grabs an energy drink, some sunglasses, and the guy's like, "You're gonna have to pay for." Okay, well, let's put this back, and she just whips him around. She's ready to kill him. Not okay.
Well, considering her childhood, I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah.
Like she's like kind of like for most of the movie, I'm like, she's like basically almost feral. She can talk, obviously, but she's almost feral when it comes to any sort of interaction with people.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't know how to interact because of how she was raised and trained and whatnot. Because it's revealed that by Gabriella in these videos, they were raising those mutant kids to be weapons.
Yep.
And there hadn't been a natural mutant born in 25 years. So 2004, 2003, or 2004, when the last X-Men movie came out, because of which was X3, X-Men United, where they had Leech, who was the cure for mutants. He was the one that was apparently they got rid of a lot of mutant kind.
Yep.
Which you find out later who's responsible for that. But yeah, that scene, he's like, you sell phone chargers? And so he grabs the phone chargers, and then he sees the cigar. So he grabs a couple cigars. It's like, you got to pay for that too, dude? He doesn't pay. Notice how Logan doesn't pay for it either.
Yeah.
So then he finishes the video where Gabrielle says, there is no money. That was a lie. She isn't my daughter. That's also a lie. She's your daughter. She's your child. Because it was his DNA that she's cloned from. No more mutant scientific version. Yeah. Talk to the hand moment. More like talk to the claw. I also like the scene where he does get Charles to the toilet, and he's like arguing with him. He's like, I can do it my fucking self. And he's like, oh, I bet you like it. And he's like, trust me, I'm not looking. It's just, that is sadly what happens with Alzheimer's people.
Yeah.
Because even Charles Xavier is swearing like a sailor in this movie. That fucking albino and all, you fucking love it. Yeah. It's like, wow. Just wow. Yeah. They allowed everybody to cut loose in this.
Yeah. And like the Alzheimer's is degrading his mind a bit, so like anger and stuff like that comes out more naturally. Because even though Charles Xavier talks like a proper British gentleman usually.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he does. And then Caliban is also captured, and after learning the truth, they're in Oklahoma City at the Harris Casino or something like that. And it's a nice little reprieve. And so they get some clothes, and you see Charles talking with Laura about a movie that is on. And this is important later on because she follows this movie very well about a certain line that there's no more guns in the valley and whatnot, which she uses later in the film. And they need a new vehicle because the limos shot the shit.
Yep.
And you also see that everybody, or Pop's good to see. How you doing? The authenticism in this film elevates it. Yes. Also, Logan goes and gets a car, but while he's emptying out the limo, he notices that there are pills in between the seats, the pills that he gives to Charles to help suppress the psychic fits that he has and the seizures. Because that is essentially what they are. They're seizures, and when you have a seizure, I've seen a friend who went under or had a seizure while they were doing a CAT scan, and your brain lights up. Yeah, those scans just light up like a freaking Christmas tree. And so that's what it's a seizure that triggers his psychic attack or his psychic fits. Ugh. And so he realizes, oh crap, he gets a new truck, and when he gets back to the casino, the other people are looking for him, or the Reavers that they call the characters. They're all cybernetic or they have enhancements in cybernetics and whatnot. And once he gets into the
I think it was
casino,
the hallway, right?
Yeah, he gets into the casino. That's when the attack starts again, and you see everybody frozen. And he has to make it's like really bad vertigo the way that they showed him trying to move through. And the closer he gets, the worse it gets. And he sees that these guys are all there. So while he's going through, he's stabbing each one through the head. And it's like, yep, effectively, that's going to kill them all.
Yeah.
You also see that Lauren.
Well, it's also smart because, like, if he gets the medicine, then those guys will, reanimate basically, and that would be bad. So it's like it's smart to do that.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably difficult to like swing your adamantium claws while like freaking Charles is having this psychic fit.
So he gets up close to him and just lets out the claws each time and gets
it's not even like thrusting, it's just like
he just goes right up, or he goes right up with his foot. Wrong hand. He goes right up to him, unleashes the claws, puts him back in, goes up to the other one, unleashes the claws, puts him back in, goes up to the other one, same, or rinse and repeat. And so you also see that Laura's not affected at the same level as Logan because they're healing factors.
Yeah, but
hers is actually say again.
Logan, I think, is less affected than Laura because she doesn't have the adamantine skeleton.
Actually, that would actually be the reverse. She reacts less. She's actually able to move a lot better than Logan because she's able to crawl up with the syringe to give to Logan.
Yeah, but although Logan is still standing, basically.
Yes. She's younger, which is why it's more debilitating. But it's revealed that her healing factor is a lot stronger than Logan's because of the lack of adamantium. In the comics, she was actually dumped into a steel or a vat of molten steel, and she comes right out of it and heals from it. It's like, whew. I mean, yes, the skeleton makes Wolverine durable, but his healing factor is actually slightly lessened because of it.
And I mean, it's more durable against Charles' psychic fits. If that was explained in the beginning.
No, his brain, or that has nothing to do with the adamantium. It has everything to do with his healing factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the adamantium did was make Wolverine heavier and more durable, and his claws a lot sharper because his claws were originally bone when he had him before the feed. So yeah. So they managed to shoot him up with the suppressant drug again, and you see all the people fall dead. And as they're wheeling him out, this is the first time that Charles realizes other people are affected by this. And he's then saying, as he's being wheeled out, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I did not mean to do this." And
I mean, because of the Alzheimer's, and he's basically been alone almost. Like, it's just Caliban and Logan, so it's like he didn't realize that at all, and so it's like it's really sad.
He didn't even know why they were where they were in Mexico. He didn't know until right then he realized, "Oh my God, did I do this before?" And Logan yells at him while they're driving away in the truck. He's like, "You give him 2 of these, and I want to see it." And I love that. He's like, "Show me." And he's like, "Ah."
You know what? Logan kind of reminds me like the movie, like with the dynamic between Charles and Wolverine. It's where when the child gets older, the roles reverse. Like kind of like that. Even though he's older than Charles, it's like kind of like, that thing where it's like he's piggyback. So it's like Charles is like the old man of this piggyback. Logan on piggyback.
And while you're hearing this, or while they're driving off, you hear that there was many people were stricken with paralysis, similar to the Westchester incident last year that killed several people, as well as several X-Men.
Was it last year? I thought it was like 7 years ago, I think.
No, they said it was last year in the news report. And it's like, oh shit, so that's why none of the other X-Men are around, because Charles killed him when he had a psychic fit, when he had a seizure. So yeah, he ends up remembering that later or a little later in the film from where we are now, where they're driving down the hallway and you have these auto trucks, and it's like, oh God, I don't ever want to see a highway with trucks or big old rigs that are driving themselves, because that to me is just dangerous. It's a concept that they're actually trying to do nowadays, folks, with technology and stuff, because we have the auto drive cars, but we don't have auto drive trucks. If we get those kind of things, that, no offense to wanting to progress with technology, but there's just so many things that can go wrong with that sort of stuff. I mean, imagine if somebody hacks into those things. Yeah. So they meet this family whose horses get loose because of these auto trucks and whatnot. And he's like, somebody else will come along. Somebody has come along. So let's help them and whatnot. And you see Charles use his powers to settle the horses, which is kind of weird in a way, because in X-Men First Class, you see Charles, it's a deleted scene, but in X-Men First Class, Charles is cloaking everybody in the back of a truck, but the dog still sees him. He's like, I can't get into the dog's mind because it's so simple, or it's too freaking simple. And it's like, wouldn't that mean most animals you'd have the same problem with most animals? But this is a much older Charles who is a lot more powerful than that Charles.
Well, so I think it's also because of dogs have enhanced senses in comparison.
Yes, they rely more than just what they see.
Yep.
Because even a blind dog, or I have a friend who had a blind dog. He didn't kill the dog just because it was blind, because it was able to do whatever else it needed. It was able to smell when it needed to go out. It just went by the door, clawed on the door. He let him out.
Yeah, I used to have a older dog. I think it was died when it was 22, and it's it was blind. Yeah. He was blind, and he was been able to move around with ease. He sometimes bumped into people, but it was a perfectly functional dog.
So they meet this family, and the family's like, can we please, or what kind of people would we be if we didn't allow you to have a night or full course meal, And so while Logan's apprehensive, he's like, no, that's really not. Of course we would. You got Xavier's like, of course we would love to. And so you get the nice little family moment, and he even tells him, remember this moment, Logan. Later on, or when they're in the house and he's helping Charles, he's like, remember this feeling of normalcy, of what you could have. And right now, Logan doesn't want to feel that. And then they're trying to run the water, and there's the water issue pipe. So he goes out to help the guy, and you learn that he owns land that a bigger company wants, but he didn't sell. So he's kind of like a thorn in the people's side. So they're doing everything they can try to do with eminent domain and other things. So then they resorted to underhanded tactics, like shutting off his water, sabotaging the water, and whatnot. And I like how this is when they're in bed. Logan is helping them in the field, or helping the guy in the field. And unbeknownst to them, Dr. Royce, who was heading Transgen.
Oh, yeah, it was last year. Okay. Well, for that Westchester incident, I was like, what? Where was I get 7 years? I don't know. I'm no good with numbers.
So then, while Charles and Laura are sleeping or resting, somebody has come calling. Well, Dr. Royce has unleashed X-24. And there's a reason why Charles thinks it's Logan. It's because it's a perfect clone of Logan, just not as sentient as Logan.
You know what? For 5 seconds, it's just because of the hairstyle. I thought it was Sabretooth.
Yeah.
for 5. Like I was like, wait, is that Sabretooth? It's like, no, wait, it's not.
Yeah, and then he puts his hand down right over Charles' chest, and this is while Charles is spilling his guts about how he remembered that he killed everybody. So this is just the purest insult, adding insult to injury. Where
honestly, like like I think I was crying at that. It's like I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like this was the most perfect night I've had in a while, and I don't deserve it.
Yeah,
I remember.
He then is remembering this horrible thing, and then right on top of that, he just gets stabbed through the chest.
Yep.
And then you see it's a younger version of Hugh Jackman, Logan. And I'm like, well, shit, I thought it was going to be Dakin. Fuck. That's what I originally thought when I was seeing this in the theaters. And I'm like,
I thought it was Sabretooth just because of the hairstyle.
Yeah. But it could have been Dakin as well, or because when the trailers were out and when they showed the claw or Wolverine stopping his claws like this and whatnot, you see that there's 6 claws there. So it's like, oh, please have Dakin in this. Please have Dakin in this. Dakin, for those of you who do not know, is Wolverine's son, who has claws like Wolverine's, and he also has issues with his daddy because he absolutely hates his dad. But he has 2 claws on the overhand of his arc, but he also has a 3rd claw that comes out right around here that claws out as well. So that is interesting. But unfortunately, it wasn't Dakin. It was a freaking clone of Wolverine. And I'm like, God damn it, what a wasted opportunity.
It makes more sense the way they set it up, like with the other project and yada yada. But yeah, it would have been cool, but oh well.
So this is one of the saddest parts in the movie, Xavier getting killed and the family. Yes, because this clone has no conscience. It is pure rage and anger. And then when they're getting back, they hear the gun go off, and the father sees the wife coming out, or hears the wife shoot.
Yeah, she hears the wife's like, "Don't come up here."
Yeah.
Like that.
And he goes up. I mean, any husband would. And he ends up getting stabbed in the chest and knocked down the stairs. And then you see Laura in this aperture where her legs are bound and her hands are bound.
Well, and and then it leads down to her feet, so that immobilizes her basically. So.
Yeah, keeping her from moving, and he's just carrying her down the street or down the stairs, and he looks right at him without anything. As long as nobody attacks him, he's not going to do anything. He's only following a directive right now.
He's like a
bring the girl back.
He's like a Terminator.
He only attacked if he was attacked, or he only attacks if he is attacked. And while Logan and the guy were at the area fixing the pipe, there were these corporate idiots who were trying to intimidate. And I love how Logan just snaps the freaking dude's rifle in 2 or busts it over his knee and then tosses it aside. And it's the same guys that come back to try to rough up the family again, or to try to intimidate the father again. And
they regret it, certainly.
Yeah, they literally regret it because this guy pulls a gun on on X-24 and pulls the trigger. So he's like, just slices dude's head clean off and just starts ripping into everybody. And the doctor's like, no, this is not what I wanted. He's like, he's only going to listen to you, doc. You got freaking Pearson there. He's like, he's only going to listen to you. You tell him to stop. And he tries to get him to stop, but he won't do it. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop.
Oh, but yeah. Basically, that's kind of an indication that he's not as, like, aware
in control as,
not, like, almost, like, kind of feral, but he has a leash. But unfortunately, that leash is broken, and so he's not paying attention like a dog.
Yep. Well, when Logan is in these rages, and when X-24 is in these same rages, you're not listening to reason.
Nope.
There's no reason that can overpower you, because you would stab your best friend. You would kill your best friend. as Logan demonstrated in the first X-Men movie when he woke up from that nightmare. He was in that rage, and he ended up stabbing Rogue through the chest. He didn't see Rogue. He saw what he was seeing in his dream still.
Yep. Oh, Jackie got casuals. Yep. Controlled berserker rule. Okay.
Yeah. I know, right? Shivers. But
I think Xavier's death is like one of the saddest parts of this.
It really is. Gotta go do something. I'll be right back. I'll just make it PG-13. Most people do not know who Dakin is. That is true. A lot of people don't know who Dakin is, unfortunately. And
if they gave him a chance, I think he could become kind of popular.
Yeah, one of the few times I died or cried during the film. Yeah, believe me, dude. When Logan bit it, it's like that, or not Logan, but Xavier bit it. It's like, oh fuck, he's gonna. Or you think X-24 is bad right now? Or the look on Logan's face just says it all. He's gonna kill whoever did it.
I like how it's like kind of.
Go ahead.
You can finish.
No, you go.
Well, I kind of like how it's like what happened to the X-Men. It's kind of like never directly stated in the movie. It's just kind of like context clues, like environmental storytelling, that kind of a thing. And and then like when Xavier's pouring his heart out, you're just like, oh god.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And Logan just goes berserk. He goes into his own little berserk rage going up against X-24. And he, for the most part, he gets the upper hand, but because he's older and slower, well, X-24 then gets the upper hand and starts slicing into him and whatnot. And you see some pretty brutal moves. I mean, he puts the claws right through here in Logan's arm to flip him around and whatnot. I mean, these are the way that they do the fights with Wolverine and X-24 is nuts.
It certainly is. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god, that's gotta hurt. I mean, I'm
like, I think I threw
in
out
the theater.
Yeah,
I was like cringing, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm just like, I think I like threw up a little in my mouth because like you can kind of just like almost see the bone, and it's like,
mm-hmm. Hold on one second.
You can see it goes right through. It's crazy. Oh.
Well, that's kind of stupid.
Huh?
I'm looking out my window. I heard a growling noise that sort of or that's associated with 18-wheelers. I live in an area where 18-wheelers are supposed to go around the village, not through the village.
Oh.
Because, well, the roads are not wide in the village.
Oh. Well, some person didn't follow directions, I guess.
Either that or they're delivering something, which who would they be delivering to in this village? There's no companies here. I literally live in a village of less than 500 people.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a small town.
Oh, it is. Or less than 1,000, I think. Less than 500. I mean, yeah, just look up Piercefield, folks. Anyway, yeah, I have no problem doxing myself on here. But, yeah. So, Logan's about to get his ass handed to him by X-24 when the husband, somehow still alive after getting stabbed through the chest and falling down the stairs, gets in, manages to get to his truck.
I think it was the stomach, but yeah, like.
No, he got put or stabbed right here. He was bleeding out badly.
Yeah,
and this guy
I guess adrenaline then. Adrenaline.
Yeah, it had to have been adrenaline.
Yeah, like otherwise, like he would have been gone down
with
way
no more
than
2 axle sign. Yeah, I know, right?
Huh?
That's referring to what I was doing or what I was describing. But anyway,
Jack apparently saw this in a 4D theater.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That would have been a trippy.
There's a lot of blood. I guess there's a lot of blood splattering and stuff and like swinging around.
I've been in it's like one of those 4D theaters, kind of like those interactive theaters like they did at Universal Studios with Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
There was only one movie I ever saw in 4D, and it was like the Spike. It was like, I want to say it was Spy Kids.
Yeah, Spy Kids 3D, but they made it 4D too.
Yeah, Spy Kids 3. That was the movie I saw. Yeah, and that was like, it was kind of like a bunch of like spit or something, like kind of like
yeah. So the father runs over, or X-24 comes out with a shotgun blasting into his face, and you see him blast off part of X-24's face where it's just the adamantium skull underneath.
Yeah.
And then he's about to freaking blast Logan too, and it's like, how the fuck are you about to kill Logan? What did he do to you?
Well, I guess it's because of like the clone. He's basically like super confused and like not. Obviously, he's dying, so it's like he's not in the correct state of mind. So he's like seeing basically another X-24, like the person who killed his family. So it's like, yeah,
because even the kid died.
Yeah, the kid and the wife died.
Freaking got slaughtered, and the wife gets slaughtered, and it's just yikes, man. So yeah, he cocks a gun, pulls a trigger, and thankfully it's empty. But then that's when he just drops and dies. So after that, Logan manages to drive off with Charles' body, and he manages to save Laura, and Laura sees Charles dead in the back, and she starts freaking out. Yep. Saw the Batman, 3 hours of boredom I will never get back. At least you're talking about a damn good movie to talk about. Yeah, thank you, NB Geeks.
Yeah, I like this movie. It was I like this movie. Maybe even loved it.
I love the movie.
It was an enjoyable watching experience. I'm glad I finally got to watch it all the way through.
Yeah. And then he ends up burying Charles. So this scene here where
on the side of the road, and then he's like kind of just freaking out too.
He just starts crying and
beating up the truck they were in.
Laura before that though, but Laura actually tries to comfort him with her hand in his.
Yeah.
But he just whips it out of her, or he just whips his hand out of hers. He gets into his car. That's when he starts freaking out.
Yeah, and then he takes out a shovel
and starts beating on the damn truck. And then he's just yelling "fuck" the whole damn time.
Like, fuck.
Then he smashes one of the windows. Fuck! And then he's like, "Oh fuck it," and he just keeps going, and then he just drops in the middle of the damn road.
Yeah, and I mean, like that kind of just shows, like, he's kind of just lost it. Like he's been like so indifferent and stuff, and then you just see him like basically just break down and like not even berserker wage. Like he was doing this entire thing for Charles, and now he's dead. So
yep, he wanted Charles to have a peaceful end, and it got literally ripped out of his arm, or ripped away.
Yeah, it just got stabbed. It's
like just got ripped apart.
Yeah, almost literally.
Almost literally, yeah. And so when while Laura X-23 is watching him, she looks over and sees a guy take his dog out of a car and toss it, and you realize she steals that vehicle to get him to a hospital.
Yep, she does.
And the guy's like, or the doctor's like, "Oh my god, I never had or I never thought I'd actually treat one of you guys or one of your kind before." And he's like, "I'm not going to tell anybody. Don't worry." And he's like, "But you really should get to a real hospital so that they can run tests, find out what's killing you, man." He's like, "I already know what's killing me."
Yeah, it's kind of just like the realization. Oh yeah, the adamantium's killing him. So it's like it's not like dying. They can remove it. They can't really do anything for it.
Yeah, it's like the only way you're getting this stuff out of me is if you tear out my skeleton.
Yeah.
But I kind of need it.
Yep. People kind of need skeletons, so.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of skeletons, small divergence here, folks. There's for those of you who are Hulk fans, if you've ever heard of Maestro, he's one of the versions of a future Hulk who decided to go full tyrant. And he literally has a lovely, nice bracelet, which happens to be Logan's skeleton.
Ugh.
He literally wears Logan's skeleton as like a bracer or a kind of like a wrist bracer. So when he decides to hit somebody really hard, well, they'll feel a pretty hard Hulk hand as well as an adamantium bracer. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds like an interesting and very graphic version of the.
Well, he's an old man Hulk. He's bald. And it's all white hair, white beard, and whatnot. And he basically nuked the world to let even more radiation go through, and he became a tyrant. He killed Thor. He killed Captain America.
Yeah,
he killed
like
all
that's
the Avengers.
it's like basically very graphic, I'm guessing. So.
It's a different it's similar but different version of World War Hulk. But anyway.
Oh yeah,
so
Jack brings up an interesting comment on
I remember that comic from the 90s, Jim Lee, but yeah. Where's Magneto when you need him? Magneto's dead.
Yeah, he's dead already.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah,
we don't know how he died, but because of the timeline reset, but yeah, we don't, or Magneto probably died somehow.
Old age, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. That's what I'm guessing. Or he died when Charles killed everybody else. So yeah.
Yeah, it could have been like a battle with the Brotherhood or something, and then.
Or it could have been because at the end of Dark Phoenix, they're on peaceful terms. So
maybe he joined the X-Men. I don't know.
Or yeah, that too. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like it's like Jack says, like I think at the end the dad thought Logan was the bringer of destruction. That could also be it. Why he cocked the gun at Logan, where it's like, you fucking brought this.
Yep.
No.
So then Logan gets into the truck with Laura, and he's like, "You brought me here. I just said thank you." Denata. What the fuck? You talk?
Yeah, that was like funny. I was like, wait, she's not just like incapable of
She's
talking.
not a mute, yeah.
Yes, she's not mute or just like completely feral.
Yeah. So it's like, so you talk, and she starts spewing at him in Spanish, and I'm like,
I do understand. I did take Spanish. I did understand what she was saying. I'm not going to repeat.
Go ahead, repeat. This is a rated R stream.
Oh no. Basically in general, she was saying like how like I was just like it's like I brought you here, you filthy pig, and now you are going to take me.
Yeah.
Take me, bitch.
Yeah. So that's basically okay. So now we know what she was saying.
Yep. Yeah,
awesome.
She's basically calling him a bitch, and it's like, you are going to take me.
Awesome. So then she starts saying names like Delilah, Richter, and other names. And I should go back a little bit because they're going to a place called Eden, and she had these X-Men comics, and he found out that the coordinates were the same as in the comic book, so he thinks this is just a bunch of bullshit anyway. This is why he's
technically kind of is bullshit, but also kind of.
Yeah, it's true, but it's bullshit as well.
Well, I think like also, you know, going back to like Laura finally speaking, like I think she kind of had a moment of empathy. If you like, she tries to hold Logan's head because she was sad for Charles, and she could tell he was sad too. So she finally decides to speak to him because she finally kind of relates to him, if that makes sense.
Well, she also does relay a final message to him as well. She's like, or Charles told me you're dying. And he's like, what else did he say? To not let you.
Yep.
And I also like, before that part, she actually freaking punches him in the face.
Yep.
And he's like, don't hit me. And the look on his face when he got hit, it's like, the fuck you bitch. I mean, you almost expect him to freaking go or smack her right back, but
or just like toss her out of the car or something.
or something, yeah. Because he's like, don't fucking hit me. And then he's trying to get her to stop talking, and he's like, shut the fuck up. You're telling a freaking 8-year-old girl or 10-year-old girl to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and yeah, Jack brings this up, but yeah, it's interesting that they incorporated the real comics into the movie. Like,
yes, they did. They really, and it's just funny as hell. And
like, wait, this is from a comic book?
Yeah, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? So then they finally get to where they're going, and he's falling asleep on the road. And she pulls on her. He's like, don't do that. I'm fine.
I don't think Wolverine was French, was he?
He's Canadian. He's not French Canadian.
Yeah, he's English. Yeah, he's English.
Yeah, he was English. Howlett is his last name. That's an English name.
Yep. I actually knew somebody in middle school with the last name of Howlett. So, and he was British, like, or at least like his grandparents were from, like, I think it was Britain. Yeah.
Well, if you didn't know, or if you knew Wolverine's last name at that time, which I'm guessing you didn't because it was a complete waste of opportunity, it'd be like, hey, how's Uncle Wolvie doing?
Oh, God. Yeah, if I did know, I knew the name Wolverine. I knew he was called Logan because, you know, at that point, I think I just watched, like, Wolverine the X-Men cartoons and, like, the X-Men Evolution, so they called Logan. So it's like, I did not know that. So, but yeah, missed opportunity.
A lot of people call him Logan and whatnot, and they don't realize that's his middle name.
Yep. Yeah.
His first name is James.
It wasn't until I was like 15. I'm like, oh wait, that's not his first name. Like that's his middle name, and people just call him that.
Well, Logan sounds better.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just easier to say. It's like,
yeah.
Or
maybe
he prefers to. Yeah. Like I think James maybe sounds too prissy to him. Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds too common, so to speak. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
because he's like a tough guy, and it's like, okay, it's like, what do you rather, like James, the tough guy, or Logan, the tough guy? I don't know.
Logan sounds better.
Yeah, Logan sounds more awesome.
So he ends up falling asleep, and she ends up letting him rest, and she drives them the rest of the way. But also the Reavers.
Honestly, they're lucky that I think Gabrielle may have taught her to work a vehicle, probably.
Yeah,
because it's like she
just watched him.
Yeah, maybe she did just watch him, but like she's like, they were very lucky because like, or at least like maybe she's a good visual learner or something. Because otherwise, they would just ran off the road, crashed, movie over, roll credits.
Yeah. And at this time, the Reavers are on their track because
Jack. Okay, yeah, like he says, like, well, Logan
sounds cooler, yeah.
And to bring up like something completely unrelated and also kind of related, so like there's this guy in Ruby called Crow, but it's spelled with a Q, like Qrow instead of C. It's like, and so like people ask me, it's like, well, why is his name like with a Q? And I'm just like, because it's cooler that way, and then I just have the Q.
Well, they spell Ruby with a W, so.
Yeah.
Why are you bitching?
Like, it's just cooler.
The spelling's fucked up for a reason. And it's cool. So shut it.
It's cooler that way.
Because it's cool. Shut up.
Although there is a reason why it's spelt that way. It's like an acronym for like the main 4 characters. But yes, it's like, it's just cooler.
So they get to Eden, where she has Delilah, Richter, and all of her little mutant buddies. And they're all helping him out, and he doesn't want help. And then they realize they got the green juice that the bad guys also have. And he's like, don't put that into me. That stuff will make you crazy. He's like, only in small doses. It's also helping you to heal. So,
well, yeah, I mean, like they kind of saved his life, basically. I think he was kind of fucked up.
I'm thinking that is kind of what they, or it might be like a minor tribute to the trigger scent kind of thing, because like I mentioned earlier, that's something that was only unique to Laura was the trigger scent. But if that stuff makes you crazy, imagine putting it in a berserker like Logan or X-23, you know?
Or like that Earth Mover kid, like, you know, like Berserk
Yeah.
Earth Mover. And then he basically, like, he would probably cause an earthquake, to be honest.
Or he'd probably cause an avalanche without snow. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah. So they're all helping him out, and he has a nice little heart-to-heart. He's like, keep the money and whatnot. And he's like, you do not want me around. Bad people or bad shit happens to people I care about. Look at Charles. Look at Caliban. They didn't want any of this, and they are 6 feet into the ground. Because also Caliban, when at that home, he was helping them track Wolverine. He ends up getting his hands on 2 grenades. Beware the light. Because beware the light is what Pierce told him when he was torturing him to get him to help them.
Yep, and then he went out. You know, it's like at least he went out on his own terms, right? Because they were probably going to kill him once they got.
Oh yeah, I mean, pulls the pins, lets the slides fly, and there you go.
Yeah, but that's it for him. So.
Yep. So they couldn't use him to track them down, but they found out where they were going anyway because she had a picture of her friends
and
with the damn coordinates on the back of the fucking picture.
Yeah, so it's like, well, should have grabbed that. Should have grabbed that.
Like son of a bitch. So, yeah, they are sending drones out to track the kids when they start going. But before that, I should also say that the kids also did a nice little prank on Logan. They shaved the small little part of the beard here to make him have his mutton chops again.
Yeah, they like... So
it's like that's not funny. That's not funny. It's like, it's fucking hilarious, Logan. Shut up. And she also asks him the night before they all leave, what is this? Asking him about the bullet. And he's like, you know what it is. It's made out of adamantium, what they put in us. And she's like, you were planning on killing yourself with it and whatnot. And when he says, or bad shit happens to people I care about, she says, well, then I'll be just fine. And it's like, oh shit, damn girl, she's catty. She's got some spunk in her with words too, because she basically just said, well, you don't give a shit about me, so I guess I'll be fine. So the next day, when they're all about to cross over into Canada, because they have asylum already granted, the Reavers catch up to him, and Wolverine realizes this, and he takes the damn serum. And when he gets halfway up the mountain and can't cut it anymore, well, he decides to shoot himself up with a full dose. The whole fucking thing. And I love that when you hear Laura fighting against the guys that are trying to get her, you hear that telltale roar that Wolverine gives out, that Hugh Jackman gives when he's yelling in his rage and whatnot. And it's like, oh boy, he's a coming.
He's a coming.
He's back into full Wolverine mode, and he just starts killing as many people as he can. He's back in a berserk rage and whatnot. And then he catches up, and then after he catches up and helps Laura and whatnot, and those two working in tandem was really well. I will say that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like I was impressed with the choreography in that.
And she saw how it was wearing off. She's like, you took all of it, didn't you? It's starting to wear off now because he's starting to get tired again. And then he catches up to the rest of the kids, and Pierce, or not Pierce, but the doctor starts talking to him. He's like, you probably knew my father, who was part of the Weapon X project. And he's like, yeah, he's the one that put this poison in me. And he's like, well, one of them, yes. I think I may have killed him. And he's like, yeah, you may have done that too. And then you find out that this is the guy who also helped eradicate mutant kind through science. And while he's giving his whole, we're going to make the world a better place, fucking Logan just shoots his ass.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. He just shoots him mid-sentence. It's like, I don't fucking want to hear this. I'm going to kill y'all first. But Pierce ends up unleashing X-24, and while Logan still has just a little bit of that juice left in him, he gets the upper hand, but then X-24 sees the doctor's dead. And then the kids end up killing Pierce by freezing him and putting him into the ground and letting nature grow up.
That was honestly, I'm like, this is probably painful. It's slow death.
Yeah. Because the one girl who can call up all sorts of nature and stuff, you see like, before Laura saves her, she freaking just launches a bunch of wood and splinters at these people, and one of them ends up exploding. It's like, holy shit, they're just letting it out, you know? I think the team up with Logan and Laura was just a natural instinct. Well, of course, they have the enough of the same mutation that it's just become instinctual and natural. Yeah. Because they're animals, essentially, and they're going to work in tandem with each other. And you also see she goes off on X-24 when he starts ripping into Logan. She ends up getting into it, and she's wickedly fast on him, too. He can't really connect with her. And while she's really tearing into him, he ends up throwing her off, and she sees the gun, but she can also see that Logan's about to die. But she goes for the gun anyway, because we're not going to be able to kill somebody who's healing too goddamn quickly, you know? So she loads the adamantium bullet and ends up blowing off X-24's skull, or blowing a huge chunk of it off, but not before X-24 throws Logan onto a huge tree stump. And
stabs him on the branch.
Yep.
And Hugh Jackman lets out like a painful scream.
It's like, oh god, that's blood curdling in so many ways. And you see that this is actually the saddest moment in the movie for me. I will fully admit I fucking cried. I just cried like you wouldn't believe. Dude, being killed by so many powers is just overkill.
Yeah, it probably was overkill, but it's just like they just.
It's overkill, but it's deserved.
Yep, because like he was one of the people who's like, just like was not very nice to him.
Exactly. And but
Laura I think Laura shoots X-24 and
she shoots him with the adamantium bullet, and it just blows off like this whole area here, and it's like.
Yep, they use that. Yep, they use that rated R to its fullest effect.
They did. I mean, first throwing him onto a freaking branch, just having a bunch of blood gouting out. People getting heads cut off and stuff. Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, and people exploding and sliced in half and stuff like.
Yeah, and I love how she tries to get the branch cut off so that he can have it pulled out so he can heal. But he's like, you got to get out of here. Do not become what they turned you into. Yeah. And then he allows his feelings out. And she even calls him daddy. Mm-hmm. She actually does. And that's when
I was just like, aw.
And that's when you hear him say, so that's what this feels like. And then he finally dies. And believe me, everybody, I'm pretty sure that Riot cried just as much as I did, if not more.
Yeah, I posted a reaction. I'm just like,
yeah, I was just fucking crying. I mean, I was like, and people are looking at me like, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? I was like, shut up, I'm human.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, folks. You know those memes out there? Titanic, dude's not crying. This movie, dude's not crying. That movie, this dude's not crying. Logan dying.
Yep.
Whining like a bitch.
I did not cry at Titanic, but I did cry at this.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit, man. Men don't cry during good movies. I'm like, the fuck you talking about? I saw Logan and I cried like a bitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. Men don't cry during.
Yeah, I had to let it out very quickly because actually in like a half hour, like I had to go to an online class. So I'm like, okay, just let it out now. Just bawl like a baby for like 30 minutes and I can.
Exactly.
So people don't ask me, why are you crying? And it's like.
And then.
Yeah. What really gets me. Yeah, definitely. What really gets me in movies is dogs and old people. So although it didn't have a dog die in this movie, it did have 2 old guys dying. So.
Yeah, I was about to say, if Hugh Jackman heard you say old people, it's like, oh, God. I'm pretty sure if he was watching this, he'd be like, oh, thanks a lot.
Well, no, he's not that old. I'm just saying,
I know, I'm joking.
up there. Yeah.
But then they end up burying Logan, doing the whole cross with sticks and things. And she recites the lines from the movie that she was watching with Charles. There's no more guns in the valley and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I absolutely love what she did when everybody else walked off. She took the cross and laid it sideways so that it was an X.
Yep.
And it's like, that is like the most respectful thing you could do with an X-Men.
Yep.
And believe me, folks, the only other thing that I thought was slightly, they turned it into a joke where Deadpool in Deadpool 2 has a freaking music box with Logan freaking impaled. And I'm like, well, at least they had that reference, you know.
Yep. I think yeah, they did have that. I'm like,
yeah, it's like, oh my God, they actually went there. So, what did you, or out of 10, what would you give Logan, Riot?
9.5 out of 10.
All right, yeah. Me, subjectively, on a subjective level, I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10. It was a movie that Wolverine fans could truly enjoy. What was your favorite part in it?
I really did love well, okay, like I guess like my favorite part I think would probably be the hotel scene because like it kind of just shows like the smarts of Logan / Wolverine and Laura, almost like that. Like the casino, it's like the shaky camera and then like everyone's like just basically being frozen and then like it's like he's trying his best to like claw it. It's kind of like a slaughterhouse almost, like up there in the hotel room. But yeah, that was probably my favorite part. And then just like getting him to stop, and then it's like, and then everyone just fall, like there's like a pause, and then everybody just falls down. So
yep,
that was my favorite part. Probably, I guess my second favorite part, although it is a sad death, like it's just like he's just like the line where he's like, "Give me a second, no emotion." Okay. He's like, "This is the most perfect night I've had in a while. And I don't deserve any of it." So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Charles spilling his guts.
Yeah.
Yeah. We never did figure out who they were talking to across the border. It wasn't important. Apparently, it was just a bunch of. Apparently, it was the Canadian government. Also, never got to see the yellow spandex.
Well, at least it was in the comic stuff.
Yeah. The thing I don't like in the comics now is that they actually are making X-23 Wolverine. And they even gave her the spandex. It's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. She's X-23, man. There's a reason.
I think they also called her Honey Badger at one point, maybe. Or was that?
I think so. Something like that. But yeah.
Which, I mean, like, she does actually sound like a badger in this movie, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's
like,
yeah, she's like a little rabbit animal in this one. Now, this is her only credit. Daphne Keane, the girl who played her.
Well, yeah, for like movies, I think. Yeah, she did star in like a TV show, I think.
But yeah, it's like if they ever if they ever bring back the X-Men for the MCU, they should cast her now that she's older for X-23 again. They should bring her back. They should she would be a perfect choice.
Yeah,
she has the ferocity.
Yeah, she's got like four credits, so it's like his Dark Materials, Logan, Anna, and the Refugees. So it's like, yeah, I think this is her only movie credit, to be honest.
Well, if Marvel is smart, not that they are, but if they were smart, they should seriously consider bringing her back as X-23 because she's not. How old is she now? She's got to be like what?
She was born in 2005.
So she's like
she's
16, 17.
Yeah, 17, I think. January 4th, 2005. So.
Yep, 17 years old.
Yeah, so I guess that's a perfect age to be like, yeah,
go. Because that's how old she was mostly in the comics. She was in her late teens to early 20s.
Yep.
So definitely they could bring her back and she could definitely be freaking X-23, man. I wonder who they would have as Wolverine. Everybody wants freaking Harry Potter to be Wolverine right now. Daniel Radcliffe, and it's like
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, they want Daniel Radcliffe to be Wolverine. I'm like, are you out of your minds?
I like Daniel Radcliffe as an actor, but there's limits, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe did good in Horns. Don't get me wrong. He did good in Harry Potter. He's Harry Potter. Don't get me wrong. But Wolverine, no. Just no.
Yeah, like Radcliffe said, he denies it. It's like nope. I've heard like people like shopping around Tom Hardy, and
except that he's Venom, so they can't really bring him in as a fucking Wolverine now. That wouldn't make any sense.
Well, they kind of can because the Sony verse thing is separate from Marvel, so they kind of can. It would be confusing, but they can if they.
Well, yeah, there's a rumor floating around that Ty Gibson is going to be the new Blade because Mahershala Ali has a scheduling conflict, and it's like
I've also heard Luke Evans. So, and
Luke Evans is who?
He played Gaston in the live action Beauty.
Yeah, but who would he play as?
Wolverine. Well, yeah, he's being shopped around basically.
No, man, I would put if Luke Evans played any character close to Wolverine, he would play Daken because Luke Evans is bisexual, and so was Daken. You're not going to have a bisexual Wolverine. Wolverine was a fucking man whore.
He could.
Yeah, everybody wants Wolverine to be gay now. It's like, no, he was a man whore. He was bedding women. He was a more savage version of James Bond. Let's just say that, without the gadgets or the government backing. But he was bedding women like a fiend, dude.
I've also heard John Bernthal, who played the Punisher in the Netflix stuff.
Bernthal?
Yeah.
Huh. He would make a good Wolverine, maybe, but I like him better as Punisher. Yeah. Although I think Thomas Jane did the better Punisher.
Yeah, but yeah, Daniel Radcliffe.
Definitely not. No.
I've also heard Keanu Reeves. But...
Yeah, just like RDJ, Iron Man. There's only one Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. It's almost impossible to replace him.
Yeah, it's like
they're gonna have to because Hugh Jackman said, or Hugh Jackman doesn't want to come back. From what I heard.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? This is like if this is like literally, I think he said like, yeah, this is his last Wolverine movie, right? This is kind of like the perfect swan song to the original X-Men.
Yeah, fell out there, right? Because I think your audio went out after X-Men.
Darn. Okay. Well, no, I mean, okay. So what I was saying is like, it was kind of like the swan song to like the original X-Men universe. Obviously there was like the reboot stuff, whatever, didn't do so hot, obviously. And yeah, it was just like the swan song, like the perfect ending to that, if that makes sense. Like,
yep, it does. I can see.
Yeah, like it's kind of like people like talking about, oh, Magneto should be gay with Charles. I'm like, no, he has like many kids. Come on, he's not into that.
I can see Jackman I cannot see Jackman topping Logan. That is where he needs to end his arc.
Yeah, kind of. I think so too. Like it's just like the perfect conclusion.
Yeah.
So okay.
So,
and you know what? Wolverine, to fulfill the role of Wolverine, it would be very difficult because while some of the X-Men movies weren't the best, Hugh Jackman's performance is iconic. So
yes. I mean, first off, they also need to get a 5'5" actor who has a lot of freaking rage. Because Wolverine,
stocky rage.
Yeah, while Hugh Jackman did do Wolverine great, he was too tall for Wolverine.
Yeah, he's a bit too tall, but you know what? He played that role very well, even though he wasn't like he was too tall. So.
But yeah, now the sand trucks are going around because it's all snowy up here right now, so we need sand on the roads.
Now apparently Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam?
Yeah, Hunnam. Okay, yeah, I'm just reading the name, but yeah.
Nice.
Apparently he's been shopped around, it's like, okay, like this guy could play Wolverine.
The thing is, Marvel's going to have to try to get out of their stigma under Disney because while Disney still owns Marvel, Disney's kind of getting a lot of holes poked into their ship because of their stupid political stances. But anyway, that's a different story for another time. Riot, give your channel a plug.
I forgot to give my so like subjectively 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think it's a little slow for me, honestly, but you know what? 9.5 out of 10. So objectively, yeah, I probably give it 9 out of 10, honestly. So like this is a great movie. I love it. I love it so much. And I just
from an objective standpoint, yeah, I would put it around 8.5 to a 9. Because there was everything they wanted to do in the movie, they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was done by design. So, yeah.
Certainly. Okay,
Idris Elba, are you fucking out of your mind, jacking casuals?
Apparently, like, so I'm looking at a list. It's like new Wolverine. At the very bottom is John Boyega.
Jesus.
That's kind of a very funny image.
Who's the number one that they have?
Number one is Tom Hardy.
Jeez.
I don't know. I mean,
he might be able to do it. I mean,
yeah, but he's like 5'9", so I don't know.
Well, he's in the 5-foot range. That works.
Yep. Although, yeah, it's like I don't know if there's not any like dicey contract stuff with like Disney and Marvel. He probably could if he wanted to, but yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, no.
Yeah, no.
And
hey, Kamen Rider, you're just coming in on the end of this one, so. But thank you for stopping in.
Kamen Rider, but thank you for stopping by. Yeah, it's like it's a hard role to replace. 20 years. It's like
it really is.
So it's gonna be hard if they want to bring the X-Men into it. But okay, I'll plug my channel now. So
yep.
Okay. So hello, I am Riot Kitty. I am an artist, writer, and creator hopeful. So I do a lot of art content. I sometimes rant about things. It's basically just like a variety channel on my end. But you know what? Basically, my main focus, art, design, writing. I'm also going to college to be a graphic designer. And thank you, Jack of All Casuals, for plugging my channel. So yeah, if you probably the next stream I'm going to have, I have Riot Kitty Cafe streams where we talk and chill, while I draw or write. So it's my next planned one is going to be May 6th. If any of you guys want to check it out, and it's going to be around the same time as this, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So hope you guys all check it out. I am working on a couple of videos right now. My main big project is the rewrite of the show Ruby, made by Rooster Teeth animations, which I have dubbed Riot Ruby. So I'm working on the first video to that. Almost done. It's taken a while, but hopefully it'll be worth it. And I hope you guys check me out. Thank you. And thank you, Orange Chat, for having me on.
You're very welcome. Also, folks, don't forget to set your reminders for tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for my other guest choice review for the day. I will also have a video coming out shortly after I'm done with this stream on the whole Ezra Miller situation. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on this. So also stay tuned for that. But
he needs to be arrested longer than a couple of hours.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that.
So there's the guest review for Mara tonight is now in the chat. So definitely set your reminders for that. We're going to be discussing Hot Fuzz with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. That I just got done watching that movie the other day, and it's like, oh my God, this movie is freaking hilarious. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, Riot. Thank you so much for coming along and joining me for discussing Logan.
Yep, thank you for having me on. Yeah, this was fun. Glad I finally got to watch the movie all the way through. So.
Also, folks, if you want to be a part of the guest choice reviews, shoot me a request on either Facebook if you're friends with me on Facebook or on Twitter. You can DM me asking me if you want to discuss a movie. I also have one Friday night at 8 p.m. with CG Snowballer on Twitter, but she also goes by Lola Meets on YouTube. So we're going to be discussing the 1979 film Phantasm. So, yep. Stay tuned for that one as well. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, folks. This has been Orange Hat Reviews and guest Riot Kitty. Have a wonderful day, and always remember to stay humble.